Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Yeah.
Well, happy trade deadline day. Oh, look at us. We're just—it's a very sort of matchy black. I love this for us, guys.
Supposed to go all black, Beadle. You know the vibes.
Well, you know I packed for I don't even know how many days. Chandler Parsons, Lou Will coming at you from New Orleans, Louisiana, and DeMarcus Cousins will be on with us in a little bit. We are hours away from the trade deadline, although I'll be quite frank. I feel like enough has happened. My brain can't handle it. And we finally got the Jimmy Butler news I suppose people were waiting for. They trade him to the Golden State Warriors. There's how it broke down. Miami gets Andrew Wiggins, PJ Tucker, Kyle Anderson, a protected top 10 first-round pick. The Warriors receive Jimmy Butler. All right, we'll start with Chandler. No, let's start with Lou. Lou, how you feeling about it? It finally went down.
I think this is a pretty even trade, right? I think the Warriors got a guy that can score in the half court. Obviously, we know Jimmy's resume. We know what he's capable of doing on the court. But somebody that's going to take pride in defending. If Draymond makes it to 1 p.m. Eastern today, you got two guys now that love to play defense. And like I said, you get a half-court scorer. You get somebody that can draw fouls, that's going to bring toughness, that's mentally tough when it comes to basketball. I thought it was great. And on top of that, the Warriors, they were able to keep Kuminga. He was also somebody that was in all of these trade talks, but also a big prospect, somebody that the Golden State Warriors really wanted to keep, really was one of those cornerstone pieces that was coming up in these deals. So not only having Jimmy, they were able to keep Kuminga. And on the flip side, Miami Heat, they get a couple of guys that are great role players that's going to give them something great. And Andrew Wiggins can benefit from the year that Tyler Hero's having and the style of play that the Miami Heat play. So I felt like both teams benefited from it. If I had to pick a winner out of the two, I would say Golden State, obviously because you're getting an all-star / superstar caliber player that you can add to Steph Curry. Both of those guys are in the later years of their career, so it'll be interesting to see just how much good basketball they'll get out of this trade.
Yeah, Chandler, you got notes? You looks like you got notes. What are you thinking?
It just says Golden State won, but time will tell. That's all I got so far. 7:02.
That's wisdom.
Listen, I think it's good for both. I think by the time this transpired and everything happened, the Heat just had to get off and right, and there really wasn't a market for Jimmy Butler. Like I think everything that he created, it kind of hurt him in a way, but then also ultimately he ended up kind of winning this. If there's a winner of the whole beef, I think Jimmy Butler won it, right? He gets the long-term deal for $60 million. He gets a raise.
Oh, heck yeah.
He goes to a new situation playing with, Steph Curry and playing with the championship organization where, let's not get it twisted, Jimmy has caused a scene here down in Miami, but he's going to be on his best behavior. He is going to figure out how to fit in with this group. So I do think Golden State won. They didn't have to give up much. They kept their core. They kept Kuminga, Pods, Moody. They didn't have to give up any of that. Wiggins has been solid. Kyle Anderson's been solid. They talked about how deep their team is, but they could afford to lose those guys to bring in a Jimmy Butler type of talent. So I love they brought him in. That player option in his new deal is going to get a little dicey if he goes down this road again.
Oh, God.
Where it's kind of scary for the organization. But let's also not forget Mike Dunleavy Jr., the GM of the Bulls, played with Jimmy Butler in Chicago. So there's history there. There's a relationship there, kind of like LUKA and J.J. Redick in Dallas. They played together. So there is some sort of friendship and respect there on a business and professional level so far. So we'll see.
And on the basketball side of it, the Golden State Warriors, they struggled in the half court. Now you get a guy that comes in when things are stagnant, when teams are doubling Steph, that face guard him, this and that. You can throw him the ball. He can post up. He can face up. He can get you to the free throw line, give you a lot of different options in the half court basketball. So, like I said, it'll be interesting to see how this mesh. At first, I didn't love it because I'm used to seeing the Golden State Warriors play a certain style of basketball, an up-tempo style of play. Not really a half-court team unless you're putting the ball in Steph Curry's hands. So I was a little weirded out about it at first. But then once I seen everything and it settled down, I thought Jimmy Butler is going to be somebody that can add value to this Golden State team.
You mentioned the player option, and sort of jokingly, I do feel like we might end up having a bad case of deja vu here in a minute, but the precedent of what has gone down, right? And it's not to say that anyone's going to look at this and think, I'm going to do the exact same thing, but what he did was basically throw a bit of a tantrum, not go to work, get paid, get a raise. And so I'm wondering, guys, are we concerned at all, Chandler, about people thinking, all right, this is the way to do things? And by the way, note to self, maybe this is the way for all of us to do things. But go on.
I think it's great for the players. You just saw a player who was nothing but loyal to an organization get absolutely thrown under the bus and traded in full discretion with LUKA. So they got a win for the front office for what Nico did. This is a win for the players because ultimately he got what he wanted. He wasn't happy in Miami, and if you're good enough and you're big enough a name where you can still be productive like a Jimmy Butler can be, you're gonna get your way. You're gonna get what you want. So this did work out. I don't think professionally, obviously, this isn't the way you want to carry yourself. You don't want to handle this. And maybe one day Jimmy will tell us exactly what happened to lead him to all this negative vibe and negative energy in Miami. But yeah, he's definitely set the foundation for these other star players that if push comes to shove, it is a players' league still. I will sit out. I will not re-sign with you, and you're gonna do what I want. And it's crazy because Pat Riley, I didn't think would be the guy to give in, but like I said, it wasn't really come down to the last day of the trade deadline. There wasn't really a market for him, and he did get back Andrew Wiggins, who's 29 years old. He's 6 years younger than Jimmy. He can still play at a high level. He fits that culture. So does Kyle Anderson. Schroeder somehow got traded to his 8th team in 5 years,
Seriously?
so he's just getting tossed around. But yeah, I think it's you create a distraction like this. If you're a big enough name, it sets the foundation for other players to maybe do this.
You know what, Schroeder, I don't know what his marketing ideas are, but he should be doing things for like luggage, Airbnb, VRBO. Like if his people aren't on that, you're missing out because there's something funny to be done here. No, it is. And
No.
you know, it's not a bad thing.
Beadle.
He's going month to month renting, I'd imagine.
Money's
I don't think
money.
he's buying cribs in all these places.
What are we talking about? We do a Ramoa ad campaign, very nice luggage.
Great
you do
luggage.
some sort of VRB. Hello. I know what I'm talking about. By the way, Warriors are 11th in the West right now. I do find it interesting that their odds to win a championship did get basically cut in half. They went from plus 9,000 to plus 4,500. But I got to be honest, Chandler, are they legitimate contenders now?
No, they're not, but they did get better. I think when you're a team like this, it just gives them hope. It's just with everything else, it's a fresh face. It's something to look forward to. It's something that you can kind of start mixing in and doing different rotations. And again, Jimmy Butler is a hell of a player, and he has proven to be, when he's healthy, a top 10, top 15 player. And he's great in the playoffs. He's always been tough. He always defends, so he's going to fit this culture. And I got to imagine he's going to blend in with the Draymond Greens, with the Steph Curry. But championship team, I don't think so. Now, when you look at the standings right now and you see the Sacramento Kings and the Phoenix Suns are the two teams above them in the play-in position, I do think they're better off than those two teams. And then once you get this Warriors team fully healthy in a play-in situation, I think anything can happen and they can find their way into the playoffs. But I think long-term, just getting this done and knowing that he's with you for at least a year or two, I think that just makes them better off. And yeah, I think he's a better basketball player. I think he fits better than Andrew Wiggins, but to me, I don't think this is the Warriors are a championship team now. I really don't.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I say no because I'm looking at the standings here. Outside of Phoenix, who's had their concerns, I feel like Sac got better when you added Zach LaVine. I feel like Dallas is going to get better when you add Anthony
Valanciunas. Yeah, Kings.
Dallas and Anthony Davis. Like, there are teams that are in front of them. They're not going to let up. I think Minnesota comes out of the All-Star break playing better basketball. I think they start to figure it out. The Clippers start to figure it out. The Lakers are starting to figure it out. Lakers are rolling, by the way, right now. And so when you have all of these teams that's in front of them, I don't see a highway where they get past some of these teams when it comes down to the nitty-gritty. But like I said, we'll see. Jimmy, he's going to give him something. He's going to give him something in the half court. Obviously, Steph Curry is who he is. A lot of these teams, I don't think they're done willing and dealing, but I just don't think they get themselves in a position past some of these other teams that got clearly better than they did.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm not even going to say it. It doesn't need to be said out loud. Guys, we already know that he didn't want to be there, right? So Miami was sort of like do something or lose him for nothing type situation. And it's gone through so many what we thought was going to happen from the beginning of this, Lou. Best case scenario for Miami. Was this it?
It was. I think they got some really good pieces, especially for a team that was comfortable where they stood already with the talent that they had. They got a first-time All-Star and Tyler Hero leading the charge. Bam Adebayo. These are good guys. These are guys that can play basketball. And then once you add a Kyle Anderson and Andrew Wiggins, guys that you can plug in and play, guys that has kept their noses clean, that's going to buy into this heat culture thing that we keep talking about. I think these are the right type of guys. These are the right personalities that you add to your locker room that adds value. So I think that, you know, that the Miami Heat, they should be happy in return what they got. I thought they were going to get a bigger name guy, no disrespect to the guys that were traded there, but collectively for the team, I think that they're happy with what they had.
Yeah, and I'd rather this than just a swap for Brad Beal in Phoenix. And now if you're Wiggins, if you're Kyle Anderson, you have to be looking forward. They're right in the thick of things. They are the 6th seed. They're, you know, 3 games out of home court advantage right now in the Eastern Conference. So, again, when you have a rising star like Tyler Hero, you have a stud with Bam that plays on both sides of the ball. If I'm these two guys, I'm also excited, looking for a fresh start, seeing what this Heat culture is all about, playing for a top 3 coach with Spo. So they have a lot to look forward to, too. And when Andrew Wiggins, not forget how good he was in Golden State for that championship run. He was arguably their 2nd best player on their last championship run. So he still has a lot to give. And he's only 29 years old. So I like it. And again, I think this is better than just letting Jimmy walk and keep this distraction for the rest of the year. So I do like it, but the viral video of the fans saying, like, telling Kevin Love that him saying we fleeced him, I don't see that. I think Golden State won this trade, but I think it's pretty even.
Fleece is a strong word there. Guys, there's also Lakers made some more moves. They finally got a center. Don't tell Anthony Davis. Hornets received Dalton, KNECHT, Cam Reddish, a 2030 pick swap, and a 2031 unprotected first. They get Mark Williams. Look, he's a young man, 23-year-old. So this is probably a good thing, but I'm wondering if they gave up maybe too much, Chandler. That's, I guess, the question.
That's a haul. And what's crazy is the average NBA fan, they know who Dalton KNECHT is. They know who Cam Reddish is. They don't know who Mark Williams is. But this dude is exactly what the Lakers need. You see his numbers there. It surprised me. I had to look him up. Dude's averaging a double-double. When you look at LUKA's 6 years in the league, he is really good when he has this rim-running lob threat. He was great with Lively. He was great with Gafford. This is going to be that guy, and he's going to set pick and rolls. He's going to run. They're going to surround him with shooting, and LeBron James, another playmaker. So it is giving up a lot, and again, I think the average fan's kind of looking at this like, what the hell? Like, why did we do this? Dalton KNECHT so young, which he's not that young. He played in college for an awfully long time. Cam Reddish has not really been the player that we thought he was going to be, but it's just they gave up a lot, but it is exactly what the Lakers need. Now their team's kind of looking complete.
I don't think so. You know, these draft picks don't kick in for another 6 years. Cam Reddish wasn't able to get on the floor. He wasn't able to find a rhythm there. And when you bring in a LUKA Doncic, that makes Dalton KNECHT expendable. That makes him one of those guys. Like when you're at the shooting guard, you're at the small forward. LUKA Doncic is the shooting guard small forward that you want on your basketball team. So that puts Dalton KNECHT in a position to be able to be on the move and be on the trade. And so I don't think they gave up a lot. They needed some size. They needed some rim protection. They needed somebody that was going to play up and down pace with him, that was going to be a lob threat, that was going to block shots. And they got it. They went out and got a young guy that they can have for the future, for years to come, that they can build with, that they can grow with. So I feel differently about it. I feel like the Lakers did what they needed to do. And I think Charlotte got better as well. And so nobody got robbed, nobody got fleeced, but I don't think they gave up too much for it.
And the only problem when you look at Mark Williams, it's his health, man. Like, the dude's played 84 games in 3 years. So that is, when I say give up a lot, you're giving up to a guy, when you're just guessing this guy's going to be able to find ways to stay on the floor. And no doubt when he plays 16 and 10 as a big on that team, on the Lakers, if he can, I think his numbers are going to be even better because he's going to get spoon-fed from LeBron James, LUKA. He's just going to catch, dunk, run, block shots, rebound. So I think it's a perfect fit. It's just a risk because you did just give up a dude who's an explosive scorer with Dalton. You give up a dude, Cam Reddish, who some people call him a bust. I still think he's got time because I thought he was going to be so good so early on. He just hasn't really peaked. But the dude's got to be healthy. He hasn't played that many games, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with him.
Understood.
I want to sort of the psychiatry of that, right? Like, if you're the Lakers, obviously you want a big man, but the fact that he's played a third of 3 seasons worth of games, like, do they think their medical staff is better, that they'll get lucky with him? Like, what is the thinking when you trade for someone?
This guy can, if he's healthy, can help us win right now. We have a window with LeBron James, with LUKA. We have those two guys. We're in a position to win. Our biggest hole, our biggest weakness right now is a 5-man. That's a lob threat. They went and got Mark Williams, so I think that is why people think they gave up a lot, because we don't know how much he's going to play. 84 games in 3 seasons, that is not a lot. He's talking Chandler Parsons' number of games there. Like, that is not a lot.
Do we know what injuries he was dealing with?
Not exactly.
It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
He's got foot injuries this season.
But as a big dude, that young 7-footer, like it's just not good. So that is the risk for the Lakers. But yeah, if they can find a way to play him 70-80% of the season, then this is a huge pickup.
Well, there's a man coming up in the next segment that probably has a few opinions on everything that's gone down so far. Boogie Cousins back on the show. Cannot wait to hear what he thinks about all of this when we return.
Run it up, run it back, run it up.
Bang, bang, boogie.
I don't really think the Lakers are serious anymore.
This a whole nother caliber.
Miami, they don't take care of the superstar. Zion, he's good enough to get you fired.
Bang, bang, boogie.
Bang, bang, Boogie.
He's back. Boogie's back. By the way, this has been a trade deadline for the ages, Boogie, and there's so much to get to. We're going to sort of work our way backwards because last night we finally got the news that Jimmy Butler's got a new home after all of the shenanigans. He is now in Golden State. So I want to start there. How are you feeling about the fit? What does it do for the team?
I like the deal. I don't love it. I do feel like the Warriors did get better from the trade. Does it move the needle? Does it put them as a top contending team in the West? I still don't think so, but I do think they improved. It kind of brings back that version of the Warriors where their best teams, which had half-court offense, also had Kevin Durant in that offense. So it's kind of similar to that when it comes to Jimmy fitting that mold, but obviously it's not the same amount of firepower. So it's similar to, some of their successful days, but I still don't think this move moves this team to title contention. So,
Still feel like something missing. Still feel like
Wait,
they're still a piece away.
And honestly, I
Why
don't think
didn't
they're
they just-
done. I think they still make another move before the deadline.
Lou, a name I'm hearing is Vucevic maybe to Golden State, which I think would be a great fit.
Wow.
And I would like that.
Can I ask a dumb question? Why didn't you just pay Klay Thompson to stay?
At his age and those injuries, and I think they knew his best basketball was behind him, right? You can see what he's doing in Dallas. He still can be productive. He still can make shots, but moving forward,
It's
I
a
think
lot of
you
money
gotta
they're
have-
giving
Is he giving you more than Buddy Hield though?
Not at that value, not at what the clip they'd have to pay him at. I don't think so.
Man,
I think I would have taken that chance. I would have taken
it's
that
weird.
chance with play.
Yeah, it's weird now given the hindsight of the Jimmy Butler edition, but I have to know too, because again, we're going to get to all the other stories and loyalty and what's it all about, but the way Jimmy sort of orchestrated his move, kind of just sat out, threatened, and now he's getting a bit of a raise. What do you think about that? Like, do you have any feelings on sort of the way he did this?
I think Pat met his match. I think Jimmy won the sword fight. So simple as that. And it's kind of crazy that Pat would go out. Obviously, they're speaking on this being Pat's, closing years with, this being in his career. So it's kind of funny that he would kind of end on that note. I don't think he got the best return, he could have from Jimmy Butler. The way things played out, it ended up going in Jimmy's favor anyway. And then throughout the whole process, all it did was kill Jimmy's value, which doesn't help the team at the same time. So when you think about it in hindsight, it's like, what was the whole point of this in the first place? So I don't know. My conspiracy theory is this: with Pat walking out the door, a name that's been really quiet lately, but Bob Myers going to Miami.
Well. I don't
really
hate this.
Top notch for them.
It looked like
Obviously-
Bob's having a good time on TV, Boogie. He's
Could have a better
stress-free
time, though.
job. He's
Making a
probably
lot of
making
money.
a lot
Miami
of
come with a deal
cheese.
he
One
can't
game a week.
refuse.
Making the
Living
money
in
he
Not a
can't
bad
refuse. Yeah.
KD still floating around.
But Boogie,
know.
I guess my question is, other guys see this, are other players now going to do this, or it's just not in them to kind of be that a-hole type of dude and force the team's hand? Like, I don't know if I could do that. Like, it's not in my DNA. But will other players, would they do that?
What's
now?
not in your DNA? To be an a-hole?
No,
That's
I'm
the
a
most ridiculous
live,
thing you've
laugh,
ever said.
love, Beats.
Go on.
I think it was more so, the individual. Like I said, I think Pat Riley met his match. And I don't think every player goes out that way. Every player obviously it's different personalities, it's different type of characteristics. So guys handle it in different ways. So that's just Jimmy's way of handling it. But I can't say I think it's something that'll, go throughout the league because everybody doesn't have that personality. But the guys that do and the guys that have, the platform and the backing to do it, I do think we will see more of that.
Yeah, it worked. Definitely worked.
On the flip side, Boogie, biggest trade in NBA history probably ever happened on Saturday. Sending LUKA to the Lakers. What was your initial reaction? We thought Shams was hacked when it came out. What was your initial reaction to that?
My initial reaction is I got a text from my homie, same type. He sent it to me. I'm like, there's no way. Like, this is some bullshit. Stop sending me. Excuse my friend.
No, this one works.
Stop sending me bull, bro. Like, he was like, nah, bro. I really think this is real. So I did a quick little Twitter search and X search, and it was obviously real. What Sean said, but after that, my first thought was, you can't convince me otherwise that Rob Pelinka used to move work back in the day. Bro, this dude can sell salt to a slug, bro. Like, I've never seen this before. Like,
and then the leather jacket was just a cherry. The leather jacket was just a cherry on top.
Leather jacket with slick hair and all that.
Oh, the jacket.
Fast and the Furious.
Bro, he is a different character, bro, for sure.
No, but
I think it's brilliant. Obviously, I think this is something above everybody's head. I think this came from the top, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion. This is good for business. This is good for the Lakers. This is good for branding. This is good for the global market.
Stole a little mojo from Super Bowl week. Way to fight back,
man.
NBA.
For real.
I guarantee you the ratings will be up after this move and once he's helped. Like, I think this was just a strategic move league-wide. Obviously, I mean, the West just in general has just become that much better just overnight. So I think this is great for basketball. And I believe when the NBA was at its peak, it was because the West was as dominant as it was at that time. So I think we're starting to see that all over.
Do you buy the fact that Luka's this narrative about Luka's poor conditioning was a catalyst for this trade being done, or do you feel like it was more so that they didn't want to be on the hook for that Supermax?
I wouldn't care if Luka was 350. Like, I mean, this is Luka. Like, we're talking about Luka here.
Absolutely.
Like,
That's what Finney Smith said. Finney Smith said if he was doing all that at 270, maybe I need to be 270.
Yeah, like, watch some film. Watch some film. Like, if
he's doing that with a beer, give him another one.
Right. I'm telling you.
Fill it up again. Fill it up again. Don't change a goddamn thing if you're Luka.
But I mean, this is, they go about it a certain way. If that's how Nico felt, cool. Obviously, I think Nico has a master plan working behind the scenes as well. And I'm not mad at it. Do I think it was an even trade? Absolutely not. But I do think both teams got better from it.
Yeah.
Obviously, Lakers from a benefit of business-wise, moving the league forward, and also having a replacement with LeBron walking out of the door. So obviously that plan played out perfectly for them. And then with Dallas, you have I think with this trade, Nico has a 3-4 year window anyway. So, I mean, go out your way or no way at all. You know what I mean? So in the next 3 to 4 years, I think he's going to try his best to put together a championship team. And I think they're on the right path with the pieces they have right now. I mean, can you imagine if KD fits in with that team as well? Like, championship contender overnight. And nobody is looking at this as a bad move anymore.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you if you think Luka and LeBron for this window of time they're going to play together, how you think that fit is going to match up with them two guys being on the floor together?
I think this is a clear message. I think LeBron just became, the number 2. And I think LeBron is okay with that. Obviously, this is a move for them to move forward with their future. You could tell by the pieces they're putting around them. They're putting a lot of, youth and guys around the same age as Luka on the same timeline. So this is definitely a move for the future. They're ready to move towards the future, but they're also going to maximize his talent and LeBron James while they still can. So I think this obviously moves Bron to the 2, which isn't a bad thing. I think Bron's best years is when he had a guy that was a 1A, 1B type player. So I think LeBron will be okay with that. And I think we'll see some success from the Lakers. I think they can make some noise this year.
And on the Dallas side of it, I know you tight with AD. Have you spoke to him, or do you feel like Dallas is in a better situation now with moving him down there?
I do. I like the move. I think AD's his best when he's at the 4. I think he's the most comfortable at the 4. I think it brings out his offensive game even more when he's at the 4. Mm-hmm. So I do like the move.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think,
Spurs
I mean,
got
just
traded.
statistically wise, when you look at his numbers, his best
Whoops.
years were before. So, you know, I like this move for Dallas. I think they're moving in the right direction as well. Obviously, this is more of a strategic move, and they got rid of a huge talent in LUKA, but this is also a great move for them where they are right now, you know, with their timeline of talent. And like I said, a guy like Kevin Durant floating around, like, you just can't ignore that. And he also fits into that mold perfectly. So I don't think the Mavericks are done at the deadline either.
Yeah, I think long term, obviously, getting a 25-year-old LUKA is great for the Lakers, but then short-sighted, the Anthony Davis now to this stacked Dallas team. What does it take for this season to consider this trade a success? Is it championship or bust now, like with this short runway with Anthony Davis moving on from your 25-year-old superstar?
I don't think it's championship or bust. I think this is still a team, you know, figuring exactly how they want to build this team out. And I think, you know, this deadline and this summer is the time frame to get it done. So I think championship or bust will be in the next season.
And I think obviously the stuff with Jimmy and Miami, that's different. That's got its own personal reasons. But does a trade like this in Dallas kind of make a player completely lose trust in an organization? If you're a free agent, are you looking at Dallas is kind of scary, man. They'll trade LUKA. They'll definitely trade me, or this is just you move on from it.
You know, this is part of the business. We've seen scary stories before. We've seen horror stories when it comes to the trade deadline. None this severe, and I think it's this severe because of the level of talent. But we've seen this before, and we know there's no loyalty in this business. Like, I think guys have to change their whole mindset when it comes to coming into the league anyway. It's no such thing as loyalty. That love that they're giving you is because they love you in that moment. Once it's time to do business, that love goes out the window quickly. So once guys realize this is a business from Jump Street, like from the day you walk in, it's business. And with that mindset, hey, I say we start matching the energy. And I think that's a prime example in what you saw from Jimmy Butler.
And I think, Boogie, I think this is good for players all around the league just to see the reaction from fans that sometimes players don't want to be in a certain situation. Sometimes we want to raise. We deserve that. Or front office, they do the same thing. So there's just as much we expect to be professional and on time and do everything we're supposed to do, but then there's not the same dialogue and trust and respect from the front office. So I think it's honestly big picture. I think it's great for players that at least fans and Twitter trolls and everyone else out there, they can see how the business really works. And it goes both ways, is all I'm saying. Like, I think it's people get caught up in players and have to have such a standard. The front office should have even higher standards, in my opinion.
I agree. But, but Boogie, you know, one thing that the Lakers did when they traded Anthony Davis, the big question mark was, well, where are they going to get some size from? They went out and made another move and going to get a young Mark Williams from the Charlotte Hornets. Were you familiar with his game? Did you like that move for them?
Honestly, I wasn't familiar, but once I saw his name go across the ticker, I definitely went and did some research, and I saw that, the kid definitely is putting up some numbers this year. He has a lot of talent, and when you picture him next to LeBron and LUKA, and obviously we've seen what LUKA can do with lob threat type of bigs. I mean, this kid has a bright future next to LUKA in the long run, and in this moment as well with LeBron. So I think it was a great move for the Lakers. I do think they go out and get another big. I'm thinking more of a veteran big, a Steven Adams type of guy. But this is great young talent, a lot of potential, and this is something I see with them matching him up with LUKA in that timeline.
Yeah, the loyalty thing's interesting just because it's so at the front right now of the conversation. But now it's got everyone thinking, there are people in this league that we always thought are untouchable, untradeable, what have you. That changed on Saturday night. Do you think there's anyone left? Is there one guy left in the NBA at this moment that's untradeable? And there is a right answer, obviously, Boogie. So go ahead.
Definitely one. There's definitely one.
That's one answer.
One guy. That's
one guy?
That's the freak down in San Antonio.
Does he wear the number
That's
one?
it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Like even
That's
Jokic
it.
right now, Boogie, like if OKC puts together a package with Hartenstein, Jalen Williams, like I think Denver might take a look. I don't think there's a package for Wemby.
No, can't do it.
Yeah.
Career suicide if you trade Wemby.
Oh, can you imagine if you fire that dude, or if you traded that dude?
You'll never be around a game of basketball again.
Ever. And also, we're not letting him out of San Antonio.
But what's crazy, Boogie, is 4 days ago, I think Luka would be in that same boat. Like, you know what I mean? I would think Luka, like, it's crazy, bro.
One guy. That's crazy. So quickly that's happened. All right, Boogie's not going anywhere. We will take a quick break. We'll come back with more Run It Back on the other side.
Run it back.
We got to talk a little Kings with you, Boogie, because obviously De'Aaron Fox now in San Antonio, Zach LaVine in Sacramento. They also added Valanciunas, of course. But as far as this trade is concerned, what do you think about it from, first of all, the Sacramento side?
You know what? I think De'Aaron Fox did what was best for his career. And trying to elevate his brand, elevate his market, put himself in a winning situation. And what I mean by winning is championship contention. Obviously, he teamed up with a really special talent in Wemby. I don't think any point guard would pass up that opportunity. So I think he did what was best for his career. You know, as far as the Kings, you know, I think they did a solid job moving forward. I do like the team that they put in place. I'm glad they didn't go into a total blow up and put, you know, Doug Christie in that type of situation. I think this is a team that can, you know, upset some teams on a nightly basis. I do think they have a chance of getting the play-in / the playoffs. It's still a really good team. I like Zach LaVine and Debo together. They have chemistry from being together in Chicago. You add Monk to the mix. You know, I think that's a good situation. I wouldn't be upset with them going for a veteran point guard to complement this team. A guy like Chris Paul, I think would fit great with that team to keep it afloat and actually make them competitive this year. He's not that expensive. They don't have a pure point guard on the roster. I don't think Monk is a pure point guard, but a guy like Chris Paul in the fold with that team definitely could become a playoff team and give, you know, teams some trouble.
They literally don't have a point guard. They're starting Malik Monk and Keon Ellis. Like they need a point guard back.
And Boogie, let's give you credit. Way to keep it together for the Sacramento Kings.
Let me ask you again.
Way to keep it together.
Are you drinking already?
I saw your wheels turning right there, man. Let me give you kudos.
It was diplomatic. It's a very veteran answer. Can I ask though? Did they go backwards? Are they like 5 years backwards now? Are they just a little bit backward? Like where are they?
I think they stay steady, and that's why I'm not upset with the move. I think they stay steady. They definitely didn't take steps back and definitely didn't take any forward, but it's steady. And steady is not always a bad thing, and sometimes it's a great thing. So I think they're still in a really good place with a, you know, solid foundation moving forward.
Now the Spurs. Championship next year? What are we thinking with a De'Aaron Fox now?
I'm interested to see how they, you know, what pieces they put around, you know, those two guys now. The Spurs are so creative. They're also like, you know, lightweight, sneaky. Like they kind of operate in Sam Presti type of way. So I'm interested to see. You can never really determine what they want to do. Obviously, this De'Aaron Fox thing had been, you know, it gained some steam early in the summer, so it kind of made sense, and eventually it happened. But to see what they put around that, I'm interested to see. I'm actually excited to see because I'm sure it's going to be something nobody expected.
All right, I don't like all this nice stuff you're saying about Sacramento. So I'm gonna bring up something in 2017 where they famously traded you during the All-Star game. Give us the story here. How I totally forgot about this till I read it. How surprised were you? What happened? That's pretty crazy getting traded during the All-Star game.
That's rude.
Yeah, it was kind of like, you know, you're in the situation where everybody in the room is laughing at you. Everybody knows the joke except you. So you're just kind of sitting there looking stupid. Like, so definitely how I felt in that moment. But, you know, the worst part about it was, you know, going to All-Star, the whole team, we flew together on a private jet. The GM, the owner, you know, PR, all of us flew together to All-Star on the jet. So on the way back, it's just me by myself on this same jet. So it's just man, it's like you meet that girl on a date and, you know, she stands you up and then that car passes by and just splashes you with the water. So, you know, it is what it is. It's old news.
Wait, but how did you actually find out? Like who tells you in a situation?
The PR guy at the time, Chris Clark.
Got it.
this video of it when he tells me in my ear that you know, I just been traded. So in that moment, you know, I was literally asked a question about New Orleans. He just told me, yeah, you just got traded to New Orleans.
Oh wow.
Well, I'm like, now I'm trying to up the city of New Orleans. Oh, I love New Orleans. Like, I love it here. So yeah, just trying to keep it cool on the fly for sure.
Oh, that's crazy.
Speaking of trades, the Milwaukee Bucks traded Khris Middleton to the Washington Wizards.
How
for
about
Kyle
that loyalty,
Kuzma.
bud? That's some real loyalty
That
there.
hurts.
Let's ship you to Washington.
And it looks like they're not even going to buy him out or allow him to go to a contender. They're expecting him to be
Free
a vet.
him.
Yeah, they're expecting him to be a vet for these young guys. But Kyle Kuzma in Milwaukee, does the addition of him, adding him to that team, does that make them a contender? How do you feel about that trade?
I think it's just another move where they kind of stayed the same. I don't think they got better. I don't think they got worse. I think they're, you know, still the same. I think they need another big splash, you know, as a third piece. I love Kuzma, like that's little bro. He's a championship piece to, you know, any contending team, but I like him as more of a fourth option. So I think they need one more. I would have liked this move if they were able to keep Middleton. I think that would have made sense. Yeah. But I don't think they got better. So hopefully they're still in the market to make another move.
Yeah, and you play with Khris, and if you're Khris Middleton right now, and we've been throwing this word loyalty around in this business, what do you think he's thinking being traded to the Washington Wizards right now in his career?
Devastated.
I'm devastated for him.
I think they did it the right way. They did it after LUKA, so it's like, hey, you see,
All is fair. Yeah.
Nothing. Like,
Yeah.
so, I think they timed it perfectly, but it's the same. It's the same drink. So, I mean, I think Khris Middleton is a guy that can. I think he isn't done being moved. I think a veteran team would definitely make a move to, you know, add him to a contending team. Obviously, when he's healthy, he's a really, really good player. Every team wants a guy that potentially can be a closer, play both ends of the floor, so also playmaker a little bit. So he's still a really, really good player, especially when he's healthy. So I don't think he'll rot away in Washington.
I surely hope not.
Yeah,
It is crazy that LUKA move really has just opened up. It's like the wild, wild west now. You can do anything you want. It really is. It feels a little bit crazy out here. But the Bucks thing, let's stick with them for a second. Because Giannis had a little funny comment about, you know, loving that the faces of the league, let's get them all, the Euro players, as the faces of leagues. And the idea that Jokic could perhaps one day be a Laker or a Knick. I thought it was pretty funny. But I also thought Giannis would be a Knick by the time it was all said and done. Could you see that? Join me here, Boogie. Do you
Absolutely.
see?
One thing I learned about Giannis being his teammate is it's always truth in his humor. So and he's a lot smarter than he likes to give. Like things he say it's truth in it always. So I can see that being a thing that happens, especially if this experiment with Damian Lillard doesn't go as planned. It's obvious he was ready to move from Milwaukee once before they won that championship. So obviously he can get to a place where he's ready to move on. So if this thing doesn't work out, I can see that definitely being another situation. Him being in a Chicago type situation, absolutely. It's right down the street. He's comfortable in the Midwest. So and obviously Chicago is a great market for any superstar. So hey, it's truth in his humor. You get a guy like LUKA with the Lakers. He moves to Chicago. Who knows where Jokic could go if he goes anywhere? But it makes sense. It's great for business. The league is trying to globalize the game. It all makes sense. It all goes together.
So we're good with it. I always wonder, like, does it matter? Is it a big deal if all the big teams have the biggest names? Like, I've never been bothered by it, but people seem to be. So is it good for the league?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
like, look right now at
today's
OKC with SGA and WEMBY with San Antonio. There's still these big names. Can you imagine if those dudes run the Knicks and the Lakers? The amount of marketability and the endorsements, and it'd be nuts.
Crazy. But I think that's where the game is headed. It absolutely makes sense. Absolutely. All of it makes sense.
Boogie, I got to ask you about the Pelicans. They make their move. They trade Brandon Ingram to the Raptors. They don't really get that much back either. Is this the first step in a major rebuild? Is Zion next? Like where do they go from here?
The Zion move, I mean, I thought they would have already, done it. I would have thought they had something in play by now. And the fact that we saw LUKA get traded for allegedly, being out of shape, like, this should have been done with Zion if that's the standard in the league now. So I do think Zion can get to a place where he can flourish and, we'll see the best version of him. I like Zion in a Miami-type situation. Under that culture, I think, it changes the trajectory of his career. I also like him next to a LaMelo Ball. I think that would be a really good situation.
Wow.
So, hopefully he can get to a spot where he can, really put his talents on display. They can really invest in him the proper way. He can get, the conditioning and everything under control so we can see the best version of him. But I don't think New Orleans is that place.
Any hot takes you want to leave with us before we check it out here? Anything big you can come up with? I know you already had the one conspiracy, so I'm here for another.
A couple more hours here, deadline.
I think Sam Presti is too quiet right now. I think with all the assets that he
got
has,
96 draft picks. I'm sure the phone ringing.
They just snuck in Daniel. They also just they snuck in Daniel Tice yesterday out of nowhere too. Just add another big man too. It's like they just quietly or just keep doing everything.
But like, what would they do? Like, it almost feel. What would you add? Like, would Cleveland make a move? Because you kind of feel like, well, Cleveland's in a good spot. Like anything big like that. Like, who are they adding?
Almost don't.
With a guy like Kevin Durant floating around, it just makes sense. You can't ignore that. They have 150 picks.
Back to OKC where it all began for him.
That'll be full circle.
Oof. That's a movie.
Full circle moment.
I don't know if
Okay.
that makes them better because, like I said, I'm a big fan of not rattling the tree when I'm rolling.
Don't fix what's not broken.
When I'm rolling, I don't care who you add to it. Don't shake the tree. So it has nothing to do with Kevin Durant. I just like the way they're playing basketball right now.
I agree.
No, but we want it. We want a hot take.
Winning
I like
a championship is always a small window. So all I'm saying is don't ignore it.
Absolutely.
All right, it's on the radar. Boogie, always love the time. Talk soon, and we'll be back.
Appreciate it, bud.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, run it up, run it back.
Well, why not take a little look around the league, Lou? Talking about OKC there, SGA. I mean, this is starting to look a little too easy. 50 points. 50. That's the stat line. 8 rebounds, 5 assists in 34 minutes.
I don't hear a lot of people talking about the MVP thing anymore. I think we're starting to run away with this thing. That's the third 50 in the last 7 games, Beadle. I don't know if people are starting to recognize that. But he's in a flow. One thing SGA has that's in his favor that other superstars don't have, he's comfortable in his skin, he's comfortable in his position. As much movement that's going around, I'm sure he's somebody that's been sleeping just fine throughout this trade deadline, not worrying about moving anywhere, not worrying about going anywhere. When you have that much comfort, you can play games like this. You can go out there and score the basketball. You see the camaraderie that he has with his teammates. You see the direction that this organization is going in. He's reaping all of the benefits of just being in a great position, being in a great organization.
Throw up a stat here real quick because I'm thinking there it is. There are the 3 that you just referenced. The time in which he's done it is insane. That is just 2 weeks worth of work. No one else in history has scored 50 or more while playing under 40 minutes 3 times in a span of 30 days. Much less 15.
Crazy.
So I think the MVP stuff gets loud again because we got to get past this trade deadline. We got All-Star next weekend. And I think on the other side of that, we start the arguments. I'm predicting they will be loud, but he's got a great argument for a very
it's still it's just surreal to me. Like that's my rook. That's my rook. Like that guy right there would carry my bags. He made sure I was okay on the road, and now he's the best thing since sliced bread in the NBA. It's so surreal, and I'm gonna keep harping on it. This success can't be awarded to a better human being in the world. Like how everybody talks about how he carries himself, the maturity, how he goes about business. It's all real. None of it is manufactured. It is all real. It is all genuine. It can't be a better person that deserves everything that's coming his way right now. I love to see it. I want him to compete for championships for years on end and give himself an opportunity to end and leave this game as one of the best ever to ever be mentioned at the point guard position. I love everything he's doing right now.
Is there a better pure scorer at the moment?
Pure
Who would you
score?
put there?
I don't think so. Like I said, this guy is comfortable. He's comfortable playing, like he's in the best position that he can possibly be in. You know, obviously we can throw a Kevin Durant in that conversation. You can throw a LUKA in there. You can throw all of these guys, a Jalen Brunson. All of these guys go out and get buckets. But the way that he's going about it, he's never outside of his comfort zone. He's never sped up, never looked like he's trying to do something that's outside of the realm of how he plays and how he goes about the game. It's just everything is just smooth, comfort, never sped up. I can't name a better guy right now. Beadle, could you?
I know, and it's also that highlight that we just keep playing with the 50 from last night. It's beautiful. It's like poetry in motion.
Absolutely.
There was a very important debut last night was made. Number 4 for your San Antonio Spurs. He's out there, 24 points, 13 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals in a win over Atlanta. Any surprises as to how seamlessly he just sort of fit in there with Wemby and company?
Yep, you gotta give San Antonio credit for the style of play that they have, right? The system that they put in. We always talk about Heat culture. Spurs culture doesn't get enough credit in how they build teams and how they build stars around other stars and the way they're able to plug and play guys that just come in. Like De'Aaron Fox looked like he's been playing for the San Antonio Spurs this entire time. I think by the first time he came out of the game, he had 18 points already. You know, and I watched him and Chris Paul. I watched their chemistry, how they were talking, how they were defending, how they were going about it on the defensive end. Then you put them in the pick and roll with Wemby. Everybody was patient, trying to get to their spots. It looked like a seamless fit. And obviously this is something that was being worked on behind the scenes for a number of days, for a good amount of time, and it shows. It looks like this is somewhere that he wanted to be. This was a team that wanted him to be there, and it showed in their chemistry right off the bat. This was a great win for them last night against the Atlanta Hawks. I'm excited to see what else they add and where they go from here.
I mean, it was kind of crazy. That was a tie with his season high in assists so far. Obviously, Spurs basketball, a lot of movement. I would imagine his assist numbers will stay high and get even better. The Chris Paul of it all, and I don't know if you saw this moment last night. Chris Paul's barking at Castle. Not in a bad. I mean, he's coaching. He's coaching the entire time he's out on that floor.
Leader. Just lead.
It's pretty amazing to watch. What kind of impact do you think Chris Paul will even have on De'Aaron Fox?
I think this will be good for De'Aaron Fox. I think De'Aaron is used to being the alpha point guard in a system, and now you come into it with a Hall of Famer. You got a Hall of Fame point guard right next to you that can give you some game, that can give you pointers, put you in positions that you probably never thought you can be in. And on the basketball standpoint, you're going to be able to play off the ball sometimes, and now you're going to be that scoring threat. You're going to be that guy that you can zoom dribble handoffs. You can play downhill and not have so much pressure on you to make things happen from the point guard standpoint. So just having Chris Paul in his corner, I think this is going to do tremendous things for De'Aaron Fox's career. It's going to extend his career. And like I said, it's going to put them in a position to win championships, to compete for championships. Even when Chris Paul is long gone, the things that he's going to put in place for De'Aaron Fox is going to do wonders for him in the future.
All right, Lou, 4 hours from the trade deadline. Anything else big happening? Boogie seems content on the Kevin Durant move. You have anything?
I think Zion is still at play. Now that Brandon Ingram has been moved, I think New Orleans put themselves in a position where they kind of have a fire sale. So that'll be my high take for today. I think Zion is still on the move.
Well, I'm married to my phone for the rest of today. Baron Davis on the show tomorrow. Enjoy your Thursday.
All right.
I'll see y'all.
Run it up, run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, yeah, yeah. Run it up, run it back, 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 run it up.